How about now? There we are. Now we are there. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. We are just getting things around here, trying to get a few screens set up a little bit better for our show. So tonight it's going to be a little bit weird on my end because we have got like Amazon rainforest thunderstorms going on above us. It's
really?
Yeah, it's just been pouring to the point where it sounded like I had a marching band behind me. The office building that I'm in is a pole shed. It's a metal roof and such, and it's well insulated and everything, but it just echoes and such. It's like, oh my gosh, someone's gonna die. It'll probably be me.
Yeah, that's a big. I just brought up the map. That's a big storm over you.
Yeah, it's been
fun.
So yeah, if for some reason we do lose power, everything. What's kind of cool is that my boys have got it set up that everything's on a backup power supply here. So it might take a second for it to switch over, which means that it'll probably lose the feed. We'll have to rejoin the feed, but they've got it set up so we can do that now. They're
That's cool.
We should practice. It's like no. I'll just do it on the fly. So then it makes it more special.
True test.
Yes, exactly. That way I can. It's the I've done that before because then I'd be frustrated if it didn't work. If I could make it, if I've never practiced and then I make it work, then it's like woohoo. And if it doesn't, well then I never did it before, so it doesn't work. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So tonight, MJ, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Dan since he's not here.
Oh, great. So let's talk more about Boy Scouts.
Dan is camping tonight, and we told him he needed to figure out a way to do some sort of nature scouting badge for wilderness Wi-Fi, but he said there's no such thing. So I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. What's that? I mean,
so
middle of a concert, Shane's doing video for the team.
Yes.
Risking security beating her down with metal pipes. She brought us images from the Revolution.
I did.
What Dan's gonna have a bear out there?
he can't even give us.
Come on.
He can't even give us s'mores. I mean, come on now.
Seriously, you got to top that. Let's go.
Tonight's show is entitled 7 Things You Can Do to Make Yourself a Better DJ Without Practicing. Now, I want to state many statements off the beginning before we start any of this. Howie asked me earlier, is this some sort of switch and bait trick that kind of like those things, you lose weight without dieting sort of thing, or lose weight without exercising? It's not something like that. These are real things that you can put to practice that I promise you will make you a better DJ that don't involve the actual act of practicing. Now, when I'm saying about tonight being a better DJ, I'm talking about the physical act of DJing, okay? But some of this stuff will help you in other ways too. But these are ways to better yourself as a DJ without practicing. So, and these are real. These aren't fake. I didn't make them up. So we're all going to tell stories about how they worked for us tonight, and that's about it. Someone said it got quiet.
Yeah, it did here. As far as Jimmy mentioned that the storm has passed and such. So we're talking storms.
I thought you meant like me.
No, I'm sorry.
I can yell louder. I really can.
You could.
All right, so...
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us for stuff. We've got some folks who bounced over from an Arnaldo show that we just did. So, yeah, thank you for coming and being part of the show. So, okay, take it away, MJ. Sorry.
Definitely. No, that's okay. I didn't know about that. That's cool. So tonight we're going to go through 7 things to make yourself a better DJ that don't actually involve practicing. And I want our crew here to actually share their ideas of things that have worked for them when it comes to these things, okay? But there is no substitute for actually physically practicing. I can't emphasize that enough. Take practice time. It's important. But these things there can help you when you're not practicing. So number 1, and I think this is the most important, like these are not necessarily in an order, but I think this is the number 1 thing I think that can help you the most is knowing your music. Now, when I say know your music, no, John, it's not Megaseg, because you can't DJ with Megaseg. You can play music, but you can't DJ.
I was just sure that would be the number 1. Okay, continue.
No. Knowing your music, and I don't mean just knowing genres, but I'm talking about like whatever songs you have, that you know that version of that song starts this way. I have this many beats before the words start, and I got to get out of it before here, or it gets really boring. that's when I say about knowing your music. If you have two versions of Pitbull, you know which place one Pitbull works better and what version works better in another place. That's what I talk about, knowing your music. And the list that I sent you guys, Shani, John, and Dan, who's probably looking at it camping right now, I hope. I moved some stuff around because I had in that list of 7, I changed some stuff out. That one of the 7 was setting cue points and tagging songs, and I felt that belonged in with this.
Yeah, I would
about
agree.
knowing your music. And for certain reasons that I think it's important that you know your music. Because I've tagged stuff well, I cannot tell you how many times that I was at some event where somebody's speaking and they're like, wait, I have to remember that. Now, what is that thing again? I can't think of it. And I have the Jeopardy theme, so that I just type in Jeopardy theme or Jeopardy real quick. It pops up, and then I throw the Jeopardy theme while the person's trying to talk, and it makes a funny moment where the Jeopardy theme all starts, stuff like that. But having your songs tagged, knowing them by genre, by year, by BPM, everything, every way that you can imagine tagging them, I think is important. You guys give your kind of thoughts and stories on it, how something like this has helped you.
Shania, when we first started DJing back years ago, and I'm saying we, meaning me, our way of knowing our music was to listen to radio. How much of the music that you are using at your events is radio edits or something that you would hear on a mainstream radio?
My social events are radio edits, probably, I would say, depending on what type of crowd I have, only 50% now, because there's so much other ways people are listening to music now with the streaming and the SoundCloud and everything else, that there's so many crazy edits out there that when we even, get a wedding, form back where we're like, music do's, music don'ts, they're putting the exact remix of like what they want. Like, we want the Despacito, song with the blah, 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 remix. And we're like, what the? My
friend Pat, just this weekend, got someone ask him for the version without Justin. So very few people probably even know there's a version without Justin. Right,
because that came out actually came out first for the reggaeton people. But yeah, I mean, people come up to us all the time, was like, oh, I want to hear, the Bruno Mars, that's what I like, but I want to hear the blah, blah, blah version of it. And, and some DJs are just like, okay, I only have like the promo only edit, that's all you're going to get is the clean promo only edit, which I'm going to try to slam in because it doesn't have an intro or an outro, type thing, where now I have to have so many versions of songs to make people happy. And, again, like when I'm in the club, I have the twerk edit, I have the trap edit, I have the techno edit, I have like all the re-drum, the this, the that, the reggaeton one, so it's like, back then it was like just whatever was played on the radio is what everybody wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I still get that with some people, they just want to hear, like, can you not play, I had that last weekend. Can you just play the original version, the one that I know, not this crazy version where I went to sing it and then like the beat dropped and then I couldn't sing it anymore. So it's like, you have to know your crowd and you have to know it. And if you want to do all those different types of events, you do have to have a huge music library and you do need to know your music. So when you do type in, Bruno Mars or That's What I Like, and you have 5 versions that come up, you need to know which version you're playing for which crowd. Is it the one that has the swears in it? Is it the one that's super squeaky clean for promo only? Is it this one that has the trap edit? Is it this? So you have to know your different musics now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the multiple edits, and on my laptop before I shut off, it must be like a virtual DJ streaming service that it kind of can pull songs from. And I didn't have that shut off at the time, and I did a search for whatever it was, and it showed me that I had 75 versions of this song or whatever. It's just some ungodly large number, and it's like, oh my God, I didn't think, well, I knew that there were some because I get promo, I get prime cuts, I get a few different services here, so I knew there was multiple. And then there's all of the other ones. So as Shani was talking, if I don't know what edit, or if I'm not paying attention to an edit, I could have been grabbing one that I thought, oh, well, it's an edit, and listen to the beginning, oh, this is great for the school, and all of a sudden that halfway through the edit, this is the Little John edit where it's got, hey, throwing a body part in front of some gal's face and whatever. So it's just knowing that music is is I think more critical today and more work today than it really was, 20 years ago when I could just listen to the mainstream radio and I know those songs. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's its own thing. I mean, it really is. And that's why I talk about cue points and stuff, that I feel it's important to do that. And a lot of people go, oh, cue points are not big, but it can help you, because let's say you're doing a mix and you don't remember that there's a long intro on the song. Like a good example of an old song that has a really, most versions have a really, really long intro is Salt and Pepper, Push It. Mm-hmm. There's a section at the beginning before she starts her lyrics that just keeps repeating. And it's really long. And if you don't know that and you start that mix, it's just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. But if you have a cue point, you can jump ahead to whether it be right when she starts or 4 beats before that, to where it's on beat. You're still hearing the beat, but it gets there quicker.
That particular song, MJ, was one of the first songs that I played on cassette tape. I was so excited, and I didn't bother to cue beyond hearing the first note or whatever it was. I remember getting right to the beginning of it, push play, and then it had that, and it just continued to do that. It's like, and what do you do on a cassette deck? There's nothing you can do besides.
That's the advantages I like at the digital age, all the way up through even CDs. You didn't have that option of setting a cue point and jumping somewhere. You had to know, whether it be on the record, looking at, you could guys who knew how to work records, you could physically look at the groove and set the needle down, knowing that this is where it starts, because the groove actually looks different to us. If it was a CD back in the days, you'd maybe make notes on your little sleeve saying started at, 1 minute, 10 seconds or whatever.
And cue points are great too for those that do award shows, or me that do the corporate with the speakers and everything, because not only do I have my normal cue points for my mixing, but I also have my cue points for where I'm going to start when they're introducing somebody to come up on stage and they want to hear the best part of where they want to hear for the song. And I don't have to sit there with 30 seconds before they're given his bio, and I'm trying to fast forward on my Serato and try to find, oh my God, I got one ear down so I can listen to what they're saying, and I'm trying to cue it up, and I'm like, oh my God. I just be like, and it's the 7th cue, and it's, and even there, I can even write, in the notes.
Yes, you can.
Or tag it and put it in the cue point, speaker. So I know that's where I'm just hot cueing it right there.
That takes it to a whole new thing. That it wasn't just a point. You named the point.
Oh yeah, I named it.
It's taking it from, like I said, from the point where you're physically looking at a record going, okay, right there's the groove. And I come in, and we also used to do it by putting stickers on them. So you put the needle past the sticker.
Exactly.
So you don't go this way, go that way.
And they're great, when people are doing speeches at parties and things like that, and I just want to queue up, something really big, and I have a folder that says all intros. So it's even if I didn't know somebody was coming up, and then all of a sudden I hear, and we have one more speech, and I was like, it's not in my notes. Oh my God. I could go right in that folder and just grab something and go right to that cue point. And they're like, wow, we don't see a lot of DJs that, are playing music constantly when people are walking. It's always dead air, and you never know, you might get a gig just from doing something like that, or get another type of corporate event just from doing something like that. So it's, and again, that's work, and that's putting time into it. And that's not sitting in front of your CDJs or your mixer, your controller, or whatever, and mixing. That's working on your music and knowing your music.
Very cool. All right, the next one is kind of a reverse thing. When I sent them the list, they kind of made a little joke about it. But I kind of want to explain it, that I think confidence makes you a better DJ. Now, I want to define this, that it's not that if you're a bad DJ and you're really confident, you're going to be a great DJ. But if you're a good DJ and you don't have any self-confidence, you will be crappy DJ. There was a movie out a few years ago called 7 Days in Utopia, and it was a golfing movie with Robert Duvall, and he talked about being taken out of your game, as in losing your confidence, having something take you out of your focus. And so many times through, whether it be stuff going on in our personal life or something happening at the venue where we're at, we can get flustered, and that loss of confidence can really take us off our game and make us less of a quality DJ. And I really feel that that's an important thing. So not ego. It's not an ego. I'm talking about you know what you can do, but sometimes something happens and you kind of lose confidence, like, oh crap, I can't do this. When you can, that's what I'm talking about. How that losing your self-confidence can take you way out of the game.
No, it's true. And that happened to me the very first time I got booked for the very first corporate conference out of town that I did. And, I just thought it was just, playing music here and there, just like what everybody kind of thinks a corporate conference is. I didn't know that we were booking it on that level where everybody wanted that Tony Robbins feel of the corporate conference. And and I'm running the whole entire AV table of doing my DJ music stuff, and I'm running the AV, and I'm running the board, and I'm running all the Countryman mics, and I'm running the lavs, and I'm doing the PowerPoints. And I was like, I can't do this. There is no, I have to keep a smile. There are 3,000 people here. Thank goodness I have a light jockey that's running that, but there's no way I can do all this. Can I just throw a mix on and just let it play? And I was like, all right, woosah, breathe. When you do your social events and, this is happening, that's happening, you can work like this. So why can't you do it in something that's out of your element, which hopefully will be in your element. And as you guys know, it is my element now. But yeah, it was a huge shock to me and my confidence level. I've done all types of events. Why can't I do this? All right, let me get in the groove. And yeah, I kind of was a little off sometimes and had different mics turned off when they shouldn't have been turned off. And, my bad, it was my, thinking oh, they're never going to ask me back and this and that. But because of the way I am and how I just stayed up with my confidence and the way I am, they're like, she's such a pleasure to work with. We really like her. We know it was her first time, but we want her back. And, so I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And again, that was practicing making sure I know all the things that I have to get done. But if you throw your own confidence down, that's all she wrote. You might as well just unplug your laptop and call it a day.
Absolutely. Couldn't said that any better.
You mentioned the confidence thing, and that was actually one of the few things. And Jimmy and I were talking about this the other day, as far as from the coaching realm. When I was in coaching and coaching sports, and specifically when you get into baseball, baseball is an area in which you can do things that will shake the confidence of the opposing player, and what you can tell when a person, you get their head out of the game. You see that in the business world, or in sales, or in performance world, and that's one of the aspects of coaching I miss, because most of the time you don't want to get someone out of their game. I don't want to intentionally get someone out of their game, but when I'm coaching and it's a competition, I want to try to play a head game with them a little bit and do something a little off the wall sometimes. And it's again one of those little things that you miss from that part of my life.
My friend Scott, who passed away earlier this year, used to say this all the time when we were growing up, and he was mainly about sports because we played a ridiculous amount of sports growing up. He goes, it's all a matter of confidence, not over, not under, just confidence. And that has always kind of stuck with me, that it's like, don't get your head too big and don't cut yourself down. Just you've practiced, and if you prepared, do your thing. And like you said, it's so easy to take your own self out of the game. Yeah. That's for me. If I can get past me, there ain't a person in the world that can stop me. But I take me out in a second.
Yeah,
the time.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. You just got to, for those that don't know, I teach martial arts, and that's one of our tenets that we teach all our students, our kids and our adults, that confidence is one of the tenets that they have to say at the beginning of class, because especially our adult students, they're like, oh, I can't do that. There's, I'm so old, I can't do it. It has nothing to do with age. It's your confidence of, if you think you can do this, we're going to make, you might not be the fastest, you might not be the strongest, you might not be able to kick your leg or get your, arm up fast enough, but we're going to make sure you can do it. And if you believe in yourself, then, you might not be the best at it, but you did it. And that's all that matters right now. Well, not in the DJ world, but you got to be 100% doing that with your confidence.
All right, the next one kind of ties in with the first one, but I feel it's important. And Shani talked about it, and I'm just going to say it, and then if you guys want to go on this, because I think it's really important, to either get or make good edits or remixes. And that includes getting clean versions, getting different types of things to use. Hunt your music down to fit your audience and try a few things out even every once in a while. Songs that you feel someone may know. Like everybody knows that the average bar, you can play Bon Jovi, you can play a Journey and different ones like that. But recently, those two, Bob Marley and Van Halen, I went and got re-drums to make them sound a little bit more modern. And I play those, and you get more of an audience because you get the people who want the Journey. Now, we're not talking a remix that goes off on this crazy, it's just a little bit more beat in the background to kind of give it a little bit of oomph. Mm-hmm. And I really feel it's important, whether you go and get them and download them from other people or make them yourself. I think that's really, those can make you look better than you are as a DJ, I think.
I would definitely agree. It's just the problem I find as a person who does mainly weddings is it's really tough for me to try a song out, because as a wedding DJ, I don't have that, and I miss that. When I had the bar show, I'd throw a song in. Oh, that didn't work. Well, make a note of that, and to maybe try it again at a different time, or never do it again. I can't do that as a wedding DJ. I've basically got to be on, unless I can sneak it in, during a segue time between cocktail and dinner, or, if there's an activity and I need a song behind there and it's like, oh, I'm going to try this to see how it goes over. So I miss that time to be able to experiment and such.
You could experiment, and this is what I've done, to where you have the version you're going to play and the regular version queued up also and synced. So that if this begins in this section here and it doesn't go off well, you jump to the other one on sync and make it look like a special little mix, and now you're back to the regular. But there are things like that. But like you said, there are certain places you can't try them and certain places you can. Be creative and have it for both, because you never know.
That's true. You seriously never know, like, if something is going to work, and when it works, you just have the biggest smile on your face when you try it for the first time, and you're like, oh, and then you Snapchat it.
Oh yeah. There's times I've played stuff and I'm like, oh my, here we go. We're getting video.
You just snapped it. You're like, I can't believe this actually worked.
Yeah.
And first you try it again, like the second time, and it just bombs. You're like, great.
Like, I don't know for you guys with any of the schools that you do, but the old song from the 90s, Cotton Eye Joe by Rednecks, whatever it is, I think it's called.
Yep, the Rednecks,
The first time I had kids at a school dance ask me for that, I was like, are you crazy? Are you making fun of me or something? And they're like, no. And I played it, and everybody in the room got up and did the line dance to it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So if I would have never had that, because there's no reason that anybody who has any kind of musical taste would own that. But I had it, and I think I had a couple versions. I think I had the Jock Jam version, which is this crazy mix, and then the regular. But you never know. And that's why I think it's important to really kind of have a variety with you. You never know.
No, it's so true. It really is, depending on your crowd. I mean, and I say try new things. Mm-hmm. Like, that's my thing about it too, is to kind of get out of your element and to make yourself a better DJ. Again, not just practicing the mixing and stuff like that, but try something new. Try like, hey, I've never thought about playing, Party in the USA, but I'm going to do it now that I have all these girls, like, all these women up on the stage. Usually I kind of do girls just want to have fun, and I go in that era, and all of a sudden you do it and you have the right age of 20 to 30-year-olds, and they are going crazy. And now you even got more up there, and you're like, oh my God, I never thought I would. I even play it in clubs sometimes, and they go crazy.
Oh yeah.
They go crazy. So it's like, there's certain things that if I would say to a DJ, like, try this, they'd be like, oh my God, I'm never going to try that. And I'll be like, trust me, it will work. Yeah. It will work for you.
Remember the video we did a while back that I don't know if it was on this show that I showed it, where I went from Party in the USA into Ed Sheeran's Shape of You? Yeah,
we did that.
I did a cross mix of that, and I showed it. You can go to my because I have two YouTube channels. The one that's I'm on here tonight, so I'll chat something. You can click on it. It's on there. I actually show the mix and explain why I do it. But I do that a lot because you will get people with those that you may not think you get, and you get the right couple of people up dancing. You just set fire to your dance floor with those one or two people.
Yep.
I tried something a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe it worked as well as it did. Everybody knows the song what is it? Body Like a Back Road or whatever.
Sounds like a country song to me.
I was like, are you
super. Yeah,
song?
it's super. It's on the charts. Oh, you're gonna maybe go look it up on the charts here.
You're the one bringing up country music,
right? You're the one.
No, it's on the top 40 charts.
All songs on top 40. Like you could have gone like Ed Sheeran, and you
it has been in like the top 20, for a while now. What is it? Hold on here. Body Like a Back Road by Sam Hunt.
Oh, Sam Hunt. He's crossover, yeah.
It's currently number 8. So here we go. Okay. You know I don't like this style of music.
Did you play it?
Did you play it? I have a dance version that I found.
So you played it.
And I played the dance version, and it went off so well. And I'm like, okay, I don't hate this song as much now.
Ladies and gentlemen, MJ played
but a dance
country
version.
Song. It doesn't matter.
If he would have played it on Megaseg, it would have been a perfect.
I mean, it was like 128 beats or something like that. It's way up there. It's fast.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a remix. You still played it because it's by the original artist.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I tried something at a place that, trust me, where I DJ, they will literally tell you, no rock, no country. So in the city here, no rock, no country. And I tried it, and they liked it. Even the manager liked it. So. And it was a video version that I got somewhere. I don't even remember what it was, but it was a total remix. It wasn't a redrum. It was a remix. It was faster. It was about 128 BPM. So that's what I'm saying. So you never know. I gave it a try on a song that literally, like I said, on Billboard, I just looked right now on Billboard chart. It's number 8. I'm like, I got to play this. It's stupid popular. I found a version that I don't hate. So there you go. Find out some new stuff. All right. Now, this next one is kind of a psychological thing that I think is important because it's something that I do, and I tell people, and we talked about it a few weeks back, is about practicing. This is where the practicing comes in. Reading crowds and people when it comes to music when you're not DJing. When I say like that, look around at the people when you're at a restaurant and the music playing. At a gas pump, because they play music a lot of times through the thing. Grocery stores, if you're ever out at a bar just hanging out with friends, look at the people around you and how they react to stuff. TV shows have music in the background. Pay attention to it and watch how the emotion of it changes. Video games, commercials, movies, all of this. See how people react, because you can draw emotion from playing things a certain way that you see other people react. You will become more connected with the audience by paying attention to the people around you, even when you're not DJing. And we all talk about reading the crowd. Practice reading the crowd when you're not DJing.
I think you made a great point there, MJ, about going and paying attention at like bars and such. And I would go to more of a chain type of a venue, such as an Applebee's or what have you, because they've got music in the background, and these are the companies that have spent lots of dollars to know exactly what that music is for the audience that they're trying to cater to. So going to different places, and say if I want to be looking at the 20-something, I'm going to probably go and see, what is a place like Buffalo Wild Wing beyond after sports. What are they piping in for music? What is that steak place that's catering to the 45 to 50-year-olds or whatever? There's just a variety. My local bar, that wouldn't be a great spot to go and read the crowd beyond seeing, okay, well, people are responding to this or they're not responding to this music that they're piping in, because the bar up there, it just depends on which bartender's there. That's when they're going to pick, oh, I like this type of music, and that's what they pick. So it's not like they have programmed specifically to a specific audience, where some of these venues have, and that's the ones actually I like to go and take notes from more, is because then I can say, okay, they're after this audience, and I know that if I want to be reaching that audience with music, I'm going to have to be doing similar things to what they're doing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought that up. Starting this past week, a spot contacted me about me DJing their happy hour before their club DJ comes in, and also doing Sunday brunch. And they don't want any club music. They don't want anything that you would play on a, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in the club. And they want me to cater to exactly who's in the restaurant. And a lot of DJs who don't know how to say like, okay, I have 40-year-olds. What do I play? Okay, I have 50-year-olds. What do I play? I have 60-year-olds. What do I play? Wait, I got 20-year-olds, but they don't want club. What do I play? So you have to know. And by going to, and thank goodness, like I do pay attention about the music at certain places, because I was the first DJ that they brought in. The general manager was there. I was like, oh God, here we go. Like they're all there for like my first, night of my 3 hours. What do I do? And walking in and like in this like restaurant, the lights are all on. I'm like, oh God, I'm not used to this. Like not even when I do private parties, at least we turn those house lights down too for private parties. And I'm like, do I wear my sunglasses? Like it's so bright in here. Like, what do I do? This is crazy. And, I really just had to read that crowd. There's families there, there's this, but again, they don't want like the kiddie music because they still have the adults and they
have to listen to that in the minivan on the way home.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the thing. Like they didn't want to run them out of there because like, oh, even if we have families, like I don't want you to play, the Selena Gomez and stuff. I like don't play that kind of stuff. So at first it was kind of hard. And then like I got into it to the point where the general manager was like, okay, can you like send me your playlist? I'm like, no, you're not going to like copy and paste my playlist and give it to all the DJs because you guys just became DJ Shaney now for, without my finesse, my confidence. And they're like, no, I want it like the other DJs that I've already have on the schedule. I don't want to take them off, but they need to know what kind of music they need to play, but I want to add you on. And I was like, yeah, we'll talk about Money Boo Boo. Like I was just doing this because I just got back from LA and I actually wanted to work during the day to actually drive home with sunglasses on. That was still like the daytime, not the 5 a.m. sunglasses. So it was really interesting for me to kind of have something different for me to see that crowd and know what to play. I even played like Olivia Newton-John, Let's Get Physical, and people were loving it. I went from like, we didn't start the fire to like, Let's Get Physical, like,
wow.
And I was going, how crazy can Shaney get and just jog people's memories and just bring like a smile to people's faces to be like, oh my God, is this like really playing right now? For the toe tapping and stuff.
Yeah.
They were loving it. The 3 hours by the end of the third hour, I'm like, oh, am I done? Because I started having fun with it because these aren't songs I get to play, but these are songs that was jogging everybody's memory.
Sure.
And hopefully like now they'll come back knowing in the summertime, they're kind of doing this thing and they want to, come back for the music and the food. So it was interesting. It was
very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So yeah, that's like I said, I still think that's really important because any DJ, no matter what style you do, you have to read a crowd, whether it be a wedding and even at other weddings. When you have to go to a wedding, pay attention because you may think you're the best DJ in the world, but that other person might have that one trick.
Oh yeah.
They may be a one-trick pony, and that one trick might be a great trick. Mm-hmm. So pay attention.
Never too proud to pick up an idea wherever you go.
And as DJs, a lot of us who mix, we like to watch DJs online and go watch videos of DJs mixing. I guarantee there's DJs who do weddings that put their wedding videos online. You go watch them to learn if that's your thing. You never know. Like I said, I love watching different DJs and see what they do, whether it be something, a really big thing like the boiler room stuff or just some dude throwing a mix up or something. You never know what you pick up. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. The next one's probably one of the toughest ones. It's tough for me because back again to where I am my own worst enemy is about recording your set live, recording yourself DJing live, and then going back and looking at it. With today's computers, you pretty much can just click a button and record your whole night and then go back and check out how you did. It's painful, but trust me, if you're willing to go through it and look at it and go, that was crap, how can I do that better? And then go back and try the same 2 songs when you do practice and you go, oh my gosh, I should have done it this way. And now you've just fixed that instead of repeating that time after time. So recording, this is even back when I used to do vocal stuff. Our coaches and agents and stuff would record the sets, go watch and improve yourself. Mm-hmm. So,
and as a wedding DJ, I'll pay attention. My tendency is to pay less attention to my music and my segues and how I do that. as opposed to my announcements and how
Yeah,
I'm
record
working the
all of
crowd.
that. Yeah, if
And
you can.
And this is probably something that I am going to be changing and paying more attention. I have been paying more attention to the music sets. I can't think of more than maybe once or twice in my whole career where I've gone back and looked at my playlist and said, oh, maybe I should have done this differently. I should have rearranged it. I haven't done that. In the last year and a half, I've done that more times than I can shake a stick at, where I've gone through and I've looked at the songs. It's like, if I take that one and move that, and if I had played this one instead and done this and that might have made a better flow or a better fit. Or I could have taken, I made a note after I was played a song. Those are the types of things that I can even do without recording, but that as a wedding DJ, when I did record in the past, it was all to hear my announcements or how I was talking over the song. If I'm doing a song in which I want some crowd interaction, like Don't Stop Believing, I do quite a bit of crowd interaction with that, how I would work the crowd and practicing over the different instrumental breaks that are in that song and knowing what to say. And, ooh, that was too much terminology or too much phrasing that I'm going to use there. So I need to shorten that up and I need to change this. I need to add more inflection here to get the response that I want to get and all those different aspects. And a lot of that, especially the Don't Stop Believing routine that I do with that, came and it was tweaked and adjusted, improved just from recording that segment. I bet I've got 20 recordings of me doing that. But it was like, okay, listen to, I didn't like that part. Next time I do it, okay, you've changed it. Oh, you know what? I could do that better too. So,
but that's the only way to improve.
For sure.
And we at our social events with our DJ, our MC, our dancers, with everything, I have at rehearsals, I have everybody watch the videos. And I'll be like, okay, you guys want to see what you look like when you don't think people are watching you? You want to see how you're standing, during formal announcements when you don't think people are watching you? Remember that piece of gum you said you wanted to put in your mouth and chew for 30 seconds and spit out? You end up chewing it for 2 hours. And we can see you chew it for 2 hours. The DJ that didn't think they were in all the photos while the photographer was taking the picture, because we like to try to duck down when they're doing kind of like those type of photos. Like, okay, you duck down, but guess what? Your butt is like up in the air in all the photos. So maybe a squat is more comfortable for you instead of the ducking down, and then we, tell the DJs to hit record in their, in their sets. So they can listen and see like, oh, okay, yeah, that, we don't really critique that. We let the DJs critique themselves on that because we are our worst critique. But when it comes to like the MCs and the dancers, we definitely, critique it. And we say to our MC, like, okay, you are just doing this way too much with your hands. And,
are you doing hand gestures? Are you swatting a fly?
Like, I don't know
which
if
are you
told
doing?
Everybody to just bunt and run or or what's happening. But I mean, it's good. And it brings your game up to the next level. And you have to have a thick skin and you have to be able to watch yourself and, take your critiques and be like, like John said, like, oh God, did I just say all those words? Like, when I just wanted them to eat dinner. When I was just telling them that dinner is served. Like, did I take 4 minutes to say dinner is served? So it's like, but that's how you get to be the better MC, the better DJ, the better interactor, how you bring your events to the next level. So when clients say to you, well, Mel, what makes you different than Joe Small's company? And you can say, because we bring our events to the next level and, we this, we that. So I think it definitely helps out with everything.
Very cool. Very, very cool. This next one is we already kind of talked about it, but I want to explain it. So more than what I did, because I think it's more than what we talked about. It's about watching other DJs for both ideas and inspiration. Because when you're out, no matter what it is, you could be watching a rock show, a guy performing, and you can find inspiration for your next gig. You could be watching a comedian. You could be watching someone playing a piano. I made a joke a while back. I said, in the city, we have an area that has fountains that perform to music. That can be an inspiration. You never know. And I think it's really important for both getting new ideas and seeing someone do their craft really well can amp you to want to be better. And that's why I think it's important to go see other DJs or MCs or whatever. I think that really helps you stay fresh and with a spark.
Yeah, but don't be a hater.
Like, not going as a hater.
I'm saying like, but go and don't be that DJ, and don't be negative Nancy, and don't be a hater. Yeah, you might see some stuff that like, okay, I know what not to do, but do that in a positive way of what not to do. Don't be a hater on the person that's out there performing or DJing or whatever. And, you know, and you can see the things that you like and the things you don't like.
Yeah. I can't even say your name. Cello Chief. Is that right? In the chat room?
Oh, maybe it's just, Cello.
Cello Chief. Watching other DJs on YouTube. With YouTube and the internet the way it is right now, there's so many places beyond even YouTube you can watch DJs. We are considering doing a thing with Disc Jockey News, doing it on the Twitch network, which is a gaming network, but there are DJs that are doing live sets on there. And we actually did a test the other day. I did a half-hour set test the other day, and there's places like that and all kinds of other places you can watch DJs. You don't have to leave your house. You can just switch around. Let's say you're searching, like, you know, for a certain style of music. You know, like I have a 70s funk thing I have to birthday party I have to do this weekend. You know how many DJs online you can go watch that do that you can get some inspiration and some ideas from? That's the joy that the whole world is at our fingertips now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. One of my friends is one of the executioners. And for those that don't know, they went to Russia.
If you have the time to watch the video, it's like an hour and so long. I posted about it on the Rewind Report page. Okay. Yeah, because I said I haven't got to watch all of it yet. I got to watch part of it. It will freaking blow your mind what these guys, like Rob Swift's speed, his Swift thing. I mean, it's just. I
don't want to get his head any bigger, especially I don't want him to know that I'm talking about him right now.
Yeah.
He'll definitely
well,
send me a message,
he's a legend and stuff.
He's a legend. I love him to death.
Yeah.
He's a legend, but I don't want to give him any more props than he already deserves. But I mean, I texted him and I was like, when I was in LA, I had time to watch it, and I mean, there's a reason of who they are, but like, if you ever just want to give yourself just another, like, just energized thing, watch something like that. Now, for those that don't scratch, watch it anyways, because just the performance, and you could see even their whole, I don't even know how to explain it.
What it is there's four guys on each side from the Russian team and the Executioners team, and they both work as a band, kind of the best way I can explain it, because you might have one guy dropping a beat, another guy doing a horn, another guy doing something else, and there are sections throughout it that they're both performing and then taking turns back and forth, and they're not just necessarily competing because they're taking turns back and forth. In the scratch world, it's called question and answer, when you're not actually saying anything, but I'm doing 8 beats, 16 beats, then John takes 8 beats, 16 beats, and the next guy takes 8 beats, 6, and so on and so forth. And it's just an expression, but this expression with the Executioners and the guys from Russia are on another planet level wise.
Now, the Russian guys weren't bad. Of course, they were up against the Executioners. I mean, that's like saying you're, up against, the USA basketball
how many times? Because they're the Executioners are how many time DMC champ?
But here's the thing. This is what I liked about them was when they all posted it on all their social medias and people started talking bad about the Russians. They were the first ones to knock that off and be like, look, they were incredible. They're young. They have, they have to practice. These are young kids that just started and they're up against us. So that's why I love those type of DJs that aren't the haters and aren't going to be like, yeah, we won this. They were nothing. No, they gave the Russian guys mad props. They said these young guys at one point are going to be on top of their game, but they were up against us. That's what they kept saying. Mm-hmm. And that's why you need to befriend those type of DJs. You need to follow those type of DJs. Those are the DJs you want to go watch in person. Those are the ones that you want to be your mentor, the ones that have that type of attitude that aren't negative. And even if you think like you're just starting out and you think that you suck, guess what? They will never say those words to you. They'll say, okay, I see what you did there, but you know what? This is what you need to practice on. And those are the type of people you need to have in your circle, whether you're starting out or your middle range, or you're on your game. I mean, the first time I DJed in front of some of my famous DJ friends, I was freaking out, freaking out. Like, oh my God, should I just go MC this? Cause that's, cause I was an MC first, or should I just start dancing? Cause everybody knows me as the dancer, but they gave me mad props and they said, okay, that was great. And we know you were nervous, but this is what you need to work on. And they didn't say like, oh, you sucked, or we knew how nervous you were the first 5 minutes of your set because you screwed up and your mix was terrible. Okay, I already knew all that, boo-boo, but they didn't talk to me that way. And that's why I love having them as mentors and friends, because they didn't talk down to me as, well, we're up here and we travel international and we have, 7 million followers and we're this. And that's why those are the type of DJs you need to watch and learn from. And it's just, those are the type of people you need to be around. No negative people, no negative Nancys.
Yeah, so I need to stop hanging out with myself.
There you
go. because that was the first thing when I sent John with the mix. I said, man, there was a lot of mistakes in that mix. And like you said, I didn't need someone to tell me, because if you watch the video, every time I do it, the second I do it, I'm going, I know that I messed up, but it's what she said. It's good to have people.
Yeah. And if you mess up, like we're not robots, we're not perfect. We all know that we're not God. So we all will, we all will. Some of them might think you have a boo-boo.
No, because you said we're not all robots. I just saw a thing today that one of the robots, it was a security robot in a place in I think it was, I don't want to say it was Apple, it was someplace, and they were saying that the robot was giving a feedback saying during the test all things are fine as it walked right off the edge of a thing.
See, now that's funny.
So
that's funny.
Never know. Robots,
you never know still. But, we're all going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. Yeah. Do I still make mistakes at social events and when I'm emceeing or if I'm DJing or in the club and a mix is off? Yeah. I do. And we've talked about this numerous times on other shows. You just got to move forward. You can't think about it. Can't live in the past. Move forward, because guess what? They're not thinking about it anymore. They're thinking about the next beer they're going to drink and what the next song is. And is it Despacito? Because they've asked it for 29 times. So, got to just keep positive people around you.
Yeah. And that's the perfect segue into the last one. Because there was, I don't know, 4 years ago, I was watching an online seminar with DJ Qbert. And those of you know him, he's like the Yoda of scratching. He's incredible. And he was doing a night online with different artists. And it wasn't a night of DJing. It was a night where he was talking about the artistry of what they do. And he had online that night DJ Craze. Now, for those of you who don't know, DJ Craze is a 4-time DMC champion. And he's the only person that ever won the DMC championship 3 times in a row. He did it 3 years in a row and won it 4 times total. And they asked him, how do you mentally deal with the technical side of what you do and the creative side of performing? And his answer was so simple. He goes, I don't know, man. I just have fun. And how many times we forget to just have fun.
That's awesome. That's an awesome answer. I don't know, man. I just have fun.
And it's, if that's one of the things that I think is important, that, if you don't have fun at what you're doing, other people are going to notice that. And if you're having fun at what you're doing, it's contagious. It doesn't have to be an outrageous jump up and down like you've seen some of the videos online of people doing at some of the EDM events. But just if you have fun at what you're doing, it's going to help you. And trust me, it will loosen you up and you will make less mistakes, because this whole show has been about how to be a better DJ without actually practicing. You can practice 12 ways to Sunday, but if you're not relaxed when it comes time to do your thing, you're going to make mistakes.
Yep.
And I think having fun is a huge thing in our industry. We're not working. There's a reason why we're not in a cubicle. We don't do the 9-to-5 job. We're not doing those type of jobs where we should be complaining all the time. That's why a lot of us are DJs, because we don't want to have that job where we punch in, we punch out, we punch in, we punch out. We wear the khaki, what are you wearing? I'm wearing khakis, khakis and the blue shirt, that's not what we do. We're the party starters. And if we're not having fun, then maybe it's time to think about, okay, maybe I need to change professions, because this is a profession called DJing that I'm not having fun doing. Yeah. So that's huge. I mean, I know there's been DJs that aren't the greatest mixers and aren't the greatest DJs, but when I see them out there having fun, I'm happy. Like, I'm like, look at them. They're just having fun out there. You go, boy. You go. You have fun. Your mixes are terrible, but you know what? You having some fun out there. And you know what? The crowd is having fun.
The crowd is having fun, too.
The crowd is having fun. So, I mean, whatever. You ain't going to steal my jobs. I'm good. But, you're having fun.
That's my 7 list. I was thinking about having a just one more like Steve Jobs, but I said, no, we're going to leave it at that. Because I think that covers.
It's a great
that's
list.
A good balance.
Yeah. That's a good
and
list.
like we said, and we keep it's not just always about the mixing, even though that's a key thing. It's not always about the mixing. It's about everything else that helps you, enhances your DJ career for you to be a better DJ. And want to know my number 8? My number 8
I think we should have an 8 and a 9. John, you should do a 9.
Okay. Here's my number 8.
No
and
pressure.
I'm a little upset John wasn't doing it. But my number 8 is know your DJ poses. No,
if you want to know what she's talking about, you've never. There's different poses, and if you go online and search DJ poses, there's a meme out there of different poses and what you are, and every DJ does theirs. I'm guilty of one that I do. I was standing at, was it a grocery store the other day? I was standing somewhere waiting for someone. I don't remember where it was, and I'm an air pianist, and I'll do that when I'm DJing. I'll do it on the equipment, while songs are going on. I'm dancing and I'm playing along. And the other day, I was standing at a counter, and I'm doing that. And that's my DJ poses, the air keyboard.
But I was telling John, one time when I was spinning in Vegas with a bunch of the Pioneer guys, we had like a little thing of it was a bet who could hit the most DJ poses. Most. Yeah. Well, they were spinning, and whoever had the least amount was going to pay for all the drinks. But you couldn't just you had to do it in the moment with you had to emote while you were doing it, and you had to just do all of them and just so yeah. So that's my running joke with the guys, you're not a real DJ until you hit the DJ poses while you're in the zone.
John, you want to close us out with any nugget of truth that possibly doesn't have to do with doing a Sears catalog pose while you're DJing?
Well, I think one of the areas in which as an MC, and is where I'm going to kind of talk about this, one area that really helps to practice that area without actually doing it in front of a live audience is when you're seeing different things, is to actually go through. As an example, when I'm at a baseball game or I'm at a football game, and if I'm by myself, which happens occasionally when I was covering those for the newspaper, I would actually go and I would start doing a play-by-play of what was going on and trying to have that banter between. And again, I'm over by myself. There's no one around, so I'm talking to myself, yay, rah, rah. But that carrying on a conversation, with talking about something, and then kind of, am I talking about something intelligently enough to really be interesting enough for people to listen to this? Some of you have heard me talk doing the emceeing of a parade, and that's kind of an area in which that was similar to that, where, okay, now I've got a parade in front of me, and I'm going to do a little announcing and different things, but now I'm going to also be trying to have a little color between. And you could tell the parades in which I'm on and which the ones this past weekend I wasn't doing too well. It's like, oh my gosh, but the idea of going out and actually practicing. Somebody said, well, yeah, I kind of, I script things out and I think about it. That's so much different than actually going out and vocalizing what you're trying to say and actually putting the words and having it come out of your mouth and checking that inflection once again. Now, am I saying it in a monotone manner that everyone's going to be, or am I saying it with a little life and passion and a little bit of inflection that's going to make it more interesting?
Those things, commanding the crowd,
exactly,
getting their attention and commanding it.
Yeah, because, Shani from Chicago, she just drops the F-bomb a couple of times and she's got their attention. But for the rest of us, we're going to use inflection.
What? And then I hit my Z key on my laptop, and it's good. And we're good.
Yeah, we're all
we
good.
got everybody.
So that would be the idea, is that use the opportunities when you can to actually speak out loud, speak intelligently, tell a story in that forum, so that way you can actually practice speaking and sounding interesting.
Yeah, and not being fake. That's huge too.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, and not saying
Don't want to be that. We're that DJ guy who's going to be rocking the party tonight.
Yeah, because when you're like that, then it's like the 10 o'clock show of Movie. Hi, this is Movie Phone. Spider-Man is playing at 10 p.m. Yeah, you don't want to be Movie Phone on the microphone either. because I know too many MCs that think that by talking like movie phone, they're the best MC out there, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, you don't want to be that one either.
So
that's when you
have to find your voice, I think, because you can do that if you do it well, because the movie phone guy does it well. If anybody tried to imitate him, it would sound like crap. You just have to find your voice, and each person has their own thing, their own style. Okay, so and you can get that by practicing, like John said.
Very much so. So
true.
Being the telephone thing, back early on when I was cooking at a local restaurant here when I was ending of the high school time, and I would answer the phone, and I would have this little thing that I would say on the phone, and I would answer it with a tonality that was a little bit different than typical. And I was wondering why I would get a lot of to-go orders on the days that I was cooking, and I didn't think too much of it. And then the other staff were saying, well, why are you having so many to-go orders coming through? And whatever. And I started wondering about that a little bit. Then and they were going to women who were about in the age from 50 to about 60, maybe 45 to 60, whatever, but older ladies in the community. And there were about 10 of them who would order pretty much every Thursday I was working. And I didn't think too much of it. And then one of them came in. She goes, you realize why we come in? It's like, well, what? You go, we just love the way you answer the telephone.
Oh, hello.
It's like, what?
Hello, sunshine.
She's like, I just closed my eyes and because I answered it in a different way. And it wasn't anything. I was just kind of doing it in a semi-professional way. It wasn't like I was doing a complete bedroom voice or anything to that effect, even if I'd have known what the hell that was at the time. But it was something that, for some strange reason, that some of the local ladies in the community thought was kind of exciting. So yeah, there is that.
I had an experience similar to that to this day, it's like when you get older, you wish you would have known what you didn't know. But was in this youth thing, and they were doing this thing about like creating the perfect person, and the girls had to create the perfect guy, and they had all these different things they had to create, and they were all famous people. They were picking body and hair and all this stuff, and they picked me for voice, and it freaked me out then, and I'm like, what? But I should have known they were actually complimenting me, apparently.
Yeah, it was like your MC voice. They were complimenting.
Yeah, but I was a teenager then, and I'm like, what? What are you guys talking about?
When it's time to change.
Would you like fries with that?
Yeah, Howie was. I'm guessing that's what it was. I probably could have made more money if I would have, instead of selling them the. I think the Thursday was special was spaghetti.
I ain't even gonna go there.
Yeah. For those of you who are watching this afterwards, you can't see the chat, the live chat that's going on. So that's
you don't want to see the live chat.
Yeah.
Oh mercy!
Remember, these are my friends that are in the chat room. Oh, good stuff.
We have a new nickname for John.
Yeah, there you go. We'll launch that next week. Well, gang, thank you for being with us tonight. We've reached about our 1 hour time frame this evening. If you guys have any questions or any thoughts or any ideas that you'd like us to cover for future shows, reach out to MJ or myself and drop a note. Put things in the chat room down below, not on the side, and we can check those out as we go. And then, next week. Let's see. Next week we have a show, and then after that, the week after, I'm going to be gone that Monday, I think. If the
31st is that day.
Yeah, I think that one we're gonna have to play by ear yet. So if you're marking your calendars, that's the night I'm.
And then what is it? 2 weeks after that
we
is
at DJ
Expo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I posted that on Friday. For those of you who know, 1 month from Expo was Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm
so much to do.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to go and polish my sneakers so they're all nice and shiny. Maybe, wash my jeans so they're extra shiny. Maybe even iron my t-shirt so it's nice and shiny.
Shiny.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you. We'll be back tomorrow night, but we'll see you next Monday night for our regular show. Good night, everyone.